You're watching Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV from Toronto, Ontario. I'm Samia Saeed. Welcome to the show. Coming up very soon is an interview with one of the organizers for the first outdoor Muslim Heritage Festival in Edmonton. But first, let's take a look at the headlines. Massive fires in Newfoundland stabilize after conducive weather conditions. Survey shows Quebec minorities feel isolated. Winnipeg's Muslim businessman turns down Crown's offer. 5th Islamic Solidarity Games kick off in Turkey. And now the details. Conducive weather conditions have allowed the on-ground crew to control 2 large fires burning in central Newfoundland. Provincial Forest Fire Duty Officer Jeff Motti says that the fires are stabilizing, report local media. Motti says that the fire at Paradise Lake south of Grand Falls, Windsor has not grown since yesterday, and the fire near the Bay d'Espoir Highway has decreased in size. A change in the wind direction has reduced the heavy smoke and the fire intensity, allowing the ground crew to tackle the fire directly. A recent survey conducted by the Association for Canadian Studies shows that religious minorities in Quebec feel isolated and hopeless 3 years after the province's secular law, Bill 21, was adopted. Miriam Taylor, lead researcher and the director of publications in partnership with the association, says in a media interview that religious minorities were encountering a disturbing level of hate and aggression. Muslim women report the most negative repercussions. Taylor and her team gathered behavioral data toward Bill 21 by working with polling firm Leisure. Almost 2,000 Quebecers participated in the online survey, with around a third of those being Muslim. Bill 21 bars government servants from wearing religious symbols like the hijab, turban, kippah, or crucifix. Winnipeg's prominent philanthropist and businessman Albert Altasi has turned down the Crown's offer to become the province's 26th lieutenant governor and the first Muslim to hold that position. The Lebanese Canadian was offered the role in February by a Queen's representative in Ottawa. A local media source reports that Altasi turned down the offer. Altasi says that he felt 10 feet taller after the offer. The businessman says that owing to his work commitments, he could not focus on being the lieutenant governor. A spokesperson of the Privy Council office has not commented on whether Altasi was approached for the role, but says that an announcement will be made soon. 4,000 athletes from 56 countries are in Konya, Turkey for the 5th Islamic Solidarity Games. The games will run through August 18th. There are a total of 19 sports with 380 events. The games were postponed last year in August due to COVID-19 restrictions. Hussein Brahim Taha, Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, says that it is important that Islamic countries hold such events to strengthen intercultural dialogue. President of the Islamic Solidarity Sports Federation, Prince Abdul Aziz bin Turki Al FAZAL, and President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, were present at Tuesday's opening ceremony. That's it for the news. It's that time of the year again where the good weather and low COVID regulations are giving people a chance to hold get-togethers and festivals once again. One particular festival is taking their annual celebration outdoors for the first time this year. ICNA Edmonton is holding a Muslim Heritage Festival, and Sister AREEBA FAZAL, one of the volunteers, is here to talk to us about it. Welcome, Sister AREEBA, and thank you so much to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
Sister AREEBA, I want to learn all about the festival and what's included, but first tell me about the origins. How did the festival start, and why is it called Muslim Heritage Festival?
It actually started from an announcement in 2007 when the actual Canadian government announced that October would be Muslim Heritage Month. And from there, we did change the date a bit to August, so that would be during summer. And in Calgary in 2010, we started the Muslim Heritage Festival. So this year is our very first time doing it in Edmonton, so we've expanded. And yeah, that's how it started.
How did you go from Calgary to Edmonton? Why Edmonton in particular?
To be honest, it's because we moved. Me and my dad, we were both very involved with the Heritage Festival in Calgary. And after moving to Edmonton and seeing that there was an interest here for it, but they didn't have any organizers, we decided to start it up.
And how did you start it off? I mean, it's great that you had the idea and you moved cities, but how did you find the people and the resources to get started on this festival then?
Mhm. The original idea wasn't actually ours. There was interest to begin with, and finding volunteers was actually really easy to be able, because it is a really interesting idea. And once we were able to pitch it, a lot of people jumped ship and they decided that this is what they want to do.
Mhm. What did the typical Muslim Heritage Festival look like, whether it was in Calgary? I believe you said it hasn't been held in Edmonton yet, but how did Calgary's look like?
Well, our main idea was that we really wanted to bridge the gap and we wanted to show people what Muslim heritage was, what we were like, and our culture and our ethnicities, and most importantly, our religion. So we included things like Arabic calligraphy, henna. We also had events for kids like bouncy castles. We also played 1001 Inventions, a movie about Muslim scientists and all of the accomplishments that they've made.
Mhm. And what are the programs that you are holding for Edmonton this year? Is there specific names, topics that you can give us?
Yeah, one of the really big ones is the Try On Hijab event, where we have a lot of different styles of hijabs available so that people can come up and see what it's like, talk to people who wear hijabs, and understand why they do it, and also be able to try it on themselves. So I know in Calgary that was a really popular event where people were able to try on the hijab, see which ones looked nice on them, have a mirror up so they could see what they'd look like. And yeah, we also have a lot of halal food that's locally from Edmonton that we've got to show up so people can try different cuisines from Jerusalem and all these other places.
Mhm. And all of these events, they're being held in a public space, correct? The festival is being held publicly. Can you give us a location?
Yeah, it's happening in the city center, right across from the Central Library, which is actually where we're going to be playing the movie. So it's an open place. It's in the square. There's lots of room. There's going to be lots of activities that are outside. So yeah,
And when is the date for this festival?
August 20th.
Now, I know you said a lot of the programs and topics that will be covered in this festival already, but I saw one of the flyers said that there would also be more on history, literature, and culture. Can you specifically that history and literature part, how does that play into this festival?
Well, again, the main part is our connection with the Edmonton Public Library and the fact that we are going to be playing movies in there specifically about Muslim heritage. And specifically, the one that we're really interested in is Muslim inventions. So during the dark times or the golden ages, all the different scientific inventions in medicine, in geography and architecture, and just understanding how Muslims have impacted the world since the beginning.
hmm And will these movies be playing all day throughout the festival?
We have specific timings for the actual, display.
You said that this was the first year that this festival is going to be held in Edmonton. How do you expect the turnout will look like?
I'm really optimistic about it. I know that I've been telling pretty much everyone that I know. We've done a lot of outreach and a lot of encouraging people to show up. We also have a lot of volunteers and a lot of companies who are associated with it. So I'm very optimistic about it.
And how has the community helped in this whole process? Like, I know they volunteered, but what are some of the other supports that they've given to help in this festival?
Pretty much every single event that we have it's completely volunteer run. All of the henna, the Arabic calligraphy of people's names, that's being done just by volunteers, all of the organizers. We also had, again, the food trucks of a lot of the community of local halal food places coming in. So it was definitely a combined effort. This could not have been done with one person.
Now, you've told me a lot about the festival and it sounds very exciting, but I want to learn more about your experience with the festival. You told me that you started volunteering with your dad back in 2010 when it was being held in Calgary. How exactly did you get roped into volunteering for this event?
I was always really interested in it. Even before I was an official volunteer, I'd be there with my dad at at the meeting, at the actual event. Mostly, I volunteered the day of the event as well, doing henna on people, doing the calligraphy, also just being there and supervising and stuff like that. So I've always been, it was very interesting. Once you're there and you actually feel the energy of all the people that excited and all there in the community talking, it's hard not to get involved.
Exactly. And you've been volunteering now for a long time with the festival, and I'm sure that you've definitely matured over the years as well. Yeah. What is something that you've learned over the many years you've worked in this festival in particular, or even more generally?
I would say being able to take a failure sophistically, understanding that sometimes things don't work out perfectly. Sometimes you have somebody who showed up and they were expecting something different. You had something else to give. And just being able to learn from the experience and move on and understand you're just going to do better next year.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the challenges that I've experienced myself, or I've heard other people talk about, especially as young Muslim volunteers who are just looking to get involved with something, is that, we're said that we don't have experience. We can't be trusted to work on something. How did you ever encounter that feeling, and how did you overcome it?
That's a really good question. I think the way that I overcame it was simply by completely ignoring that statement whatsoever. I decided that these are my skills. I am capable of doing henna, of supervising, of running a bouncy castle, of organizing these things. So I made sure to let people know that, yes, maybe my age is a little young, but that doesn't necessarily mean my skill level is too. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've always just put myself out there and let people see for themselves what I'm capable of.
Mm-hmm. And then what advice would you give to other people then, our people that are watching, to go out and get involved with the community?
Yeah, I would say find friends, find people who are interested. If you pitch the idea, you will find people who want to join in. Again, this is our first time doing it in Edmonton. Before then, this wasn't really an idea. So if you do put yourself out there and be brave and try, there's a very high chance you'll get a good reception.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. Thank you so much, Sister AREEBA, for joining us and telling us about the festival and your involvement. It was a pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you very much.
You were watching Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. That's it from our Toronto studios tonight. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more Canadian Muslim content. Stay safe, and until next time.